Are you losing wealth right now, or are you building wealth? The thing is, you only have two options ever. And there's a really cool story from Greek mythology about a guy named Sisyphus. The idea was that the Greek gods punished him so that he constantly had to push a big boulder up a hill, and if he ever stopped, the boulder would roll down and it would crush him. But if he kept pushing, he'd get at the top of the hill. Now, the unfortunate thing about him was that when he got to the top of the hill, the boulder rolled down and he'd have to start again. But it's an interesting picture of life, because there's this quote from one of the guys that I follow a lot and has been a mentor for me, that is, you're either improving or you're getting worse, right? You're either growing or you're falling backwards. And I think that's true, right? You're either getting further up the hill or it's coming back and crushing you. And it's interesting to think about, how does this apply to wealth? Well, even if you're not making a lot of money and you don't feel like you have wealth right now, you have the capacity to generate wealth. Now, even if you're getting paid just a couple dollars an hour, that's true, right? Like when I started investing for myself, I literally had $50 every 2 weeks, and that's it. That's as much as I could possibly afford. But when I decided to invest that allowed me to start pushing the rock up the hill and growing wealth so that I could build the financial foundation for the future that I wanted to have, right? And it's really cool because I've been able to live into some cool things with that. But I think this is a good point and a good thing for you to think about is, like, are you building your financial future or are you not? Because you can only ever build it. And it's interesting, like this is a fact of life too. It's like, you think about in scripture, right? When you turn to Jesus, you become a Christian, you give your life to God. You're supposed to become more and more like Christ. You're supposed to live in a godly way. You're supposed to do honorable things. You're supposed to step into the calling and the purpose and the life that God has for you. And it's funny because you think like, okay, are you moving in that direction or are you not, right? Are you being drawn closer towards Christ or further away from Christ? There's a couple things in scripture that talk about this, right? Like you hear about lukewarm Christians where you're neither hot nor cold, and that's a bad thing. Like it's cool. And there's a movie called War Room where there's a really good visual of this, where this old lady, she's like mentoring a younger lady, and she takes a cup of tea and she gives it to the lady and she drinks it and she's like, oh, this is nasty. It's lukewarm, like it's room temperature. And she goes, yeah, you either want it cold or you want it hot, right? Lukewarm is no good. And that's the same idea. It's like you're either growing or you're falling behind, right? You're either hot or you're cold. And if you're kind of halfway there and halfway not, the truth is you're actually falling behind. And Sisyphus is a good example of that, right? If you stop pushing the rock up the hill, it comes down to crush you, because that is the natural way of life. It's funny, there's even like the idea of entropy, right? If things are always moving towards disorder. It's this idea in science. It's like, that's so true. And you think about it with investing. It's like, okay, you have money, right, that you put into a savings account, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm saving money. It's like, yeah, okay, you're saving money, but think about inflation, right? We've all heard about inflation. It's a big thing. People talk about it. People know what it is at this point. But it's like having money in a savings account means that you're actually losing purchasing power. Like your money is becoming less useful, even if it's just sitting idle, right? Or you think about the story of the Ten Commandments, or not the Ten Commandments, the parable of the talents, right, that Jesus talks about, where a master gives money to a few servants. One, he gets 10 talents, one gets 5 talents, and one gets 1 talent, if I remember that right. Right, and the one with 10 talents, the master goes away on a trip, and he leaves the money with his servants, and he says, go. And he goes away on a trip, and the one with 10 talents, he immediately goes and he puts the money to work, and the money grows, and he doubles his money. So when the master comes back, he says, look, master, you gave me 10 talents. Here are 10 more talents that I have earned on your money. And the same thing with the servant with 5 talents. He puts it to work. He immediately goes and does the thing with it, and he earns 5 more talents. He doubles the money, gives it to the master, and the master to those two says, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in what is least. Come and enjoy the peace or the rest or the reward of your master. Something like that. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but that's the idea, right? And then there's the servant with 1 talent, and he goes and he buries the talent because he's scared. He does nothing with it, and that's kind of like putting it in a savings account, right? It's not going away, but it's losing value. And when the master comes back, he says a bunch of things, but basically he says, master, I was scared. I know you reap where you do not sow, and you harvest where you have not planted seed. I was scared, and I buried the money in the ground. Here is your money. Take what is yours. And the master says, basically, you wicked and lazy servant, you should have at least put it into a savings account so it could earn the minimum amount of interest, and or you should have done something with it so you could earn some interest so that at least I would have that. But you were wicked and you were lazy and you let fear rule you, and he casts him out where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Right? Now, that parable is not just about money, but it is directly about money too. And it's interesting to think right, is your money working for you to become more? Is it building you wealth? Or are you being the wicked and lazy servant where your money is not working for you? And if that's you, like, that's okay. I'm not like trying to, judge you or cast shame or any nonsense like that. Like, I've been there, right? But it's interesting to think about, like, are you putting your money to work for you or not? And if not, then what in the world are you going to do about it, right? And it's cool, like, you think about, okay, what options do I have, right? Well, you can put it into a savings account, but inflation's going to eat it. So what else can you do? Well, you can invest it. It's like, okay, cool. Where should you invest it? Well, if you're starting with just a little bit, my favorite place that I've ever found to invest is the stock market, because you can start with just a little bit. Like I said, I started with just $50 every 2 weeks whenever I could invest it, and I started doing it. And so, yeah, it's really cool. But I talk about this a lot, and I think it's important because it's like the image of Sisyphus is so cool. It's like, are you building wealth or are you losing it? And that's always happening. So if you want to learn how to build wealth, even if you're starting with just a little bit, through a simple system that has helped me and has helped some other people be able to actually build meaningful investments and meaningful portfolios, even starting with just a little bit of money, then check out the link and register for the first stock challenge, where you're going to walk through what this looks like, how you can do it, and you can find out if you should be investing, how you should be investing. You'll see step by step what it looks like.